take over. Hey, Brad, how was Wednesday?
Hi, Scott. Wednesday was great. Hello, everybody. My name is Brad Williams. I am one of the managing partners here at Trade Ideas, and welcome to our Wednesday Q&A. I am flying solo here today. I'm usually joined by my partner, Dan. Together, we've been building this product here for the last 17 years, and we're excited you're here. We're excited to show you what we have been doing and some of the latest technology that we have to offer here. So let's just get going. Let's just hit it. The disclaimer, really briefly, guys, we are not a software technology firm. We create the best idea generation technology out on the market. If you guys are in the stock market, and everybody should be in the stock market, you guys want to use the stuff that we create. And I'll tell you why. You know, this is not really a presentation. I'm going to get right through and show you how it can help you. I'm going to go through some of the different windows that are shared very often with talk about how the tool set here, it really has your basic, you know, alerts and lists of stocks, but it really has so much more. It has the ability to, you know, utilize the artificial intelligence idea generation engine that we've built. We call it Holley, and we've got a couple different iterations of that. We built some analytics onto it. We built the charting. It's a very nice interactive charting that lets you do not only the analysis, but to really place your orders on the chart as well for people that are connected through Brokerage Plus to, right now we're connected to Interactive Brokers. So if you happen to have an Interactive Brokers account, you can use all this technology that you see, but in addition to that, there's another component that we've built called Brokerage Plus that allows you to really quickly send TDA, Thinkorswim, and E-Trade, but it's going to be E-Trade, and then we're going to be developing this connection to the roadmap for the for Brokerage Plus. And Brokerage Plus is pretty cool because not only can you really quickly send these orders to the market, but you can also build a strategy inside of Trade Ideas using the alert window. So building an alert strategy, and you can drop, so I hear you, Bulls, window, and have it update the third-party platforms with, you know, all for an idea to being able to, for you to create your own strategy, part of the technology strategies with respect to the AI component. So, I mean, let's just dive in. This is the application that you're looking at. You're looking at Trade Ideas Pro on my desktop. Let me just bring in a quick browser. This is offered right through the web as well. So right from our desktop, you can go ahead and sign in. And if you know what you're doing in the application, you're going to know exactly, let me accept this and hit OK. You're going to know exactly how to use this particular tool right here. So it's a pretty robust application. So you see our channel window right here, and this is where we have the channels just like in the app. But what is a little bit different is the ability to take these integrated windows that we have in this channel display and pop them out. So I could just take that and I could pop it out, and you know, this is a browser, but it's a pretty robust interface, and the ability to save your windows and layouts is really transferred back and forth between the two. So if you can do it in the app, you can do it in the web version. So I just thought I would point that out. I prefer the application. It's definitely, I have multiple monitors, and it just does get in my, looking at specifically right here is my custom channel. So we offer you out of the box, you know, 20 plus different channels that the team at Trade Ideas has created. We put these together using the different windows that we offer and the different configuration techniques that are available, the sorting techniques, the window displays, and we've really created all this bevy of different channels, kind of the remote control to the market, if you will, you know, using our expertise. And what I like is when people take these windows and they go, God, how did you do that? How did you create this extreme up move greater than 3% in 15 minutes? You know, you can drill into any of these windows. This happens to be one of the more complex multi-strategy windows, but if you just find that strategy, what is it, the extreme up move right here, you could pop it out into an alert window. So now you could like look at it and decide as, you know, what exactly is happening here, and you can really drill down into it. I like operating and configuring in the alert window, and then once I like it, move it into a multi-strategy window. But so you can take this and you can see exactly how did we build it? What did we do? What alerts are we using? What filters do we have in place? And you can just drill into the different tabs. I like this hide unused because it gets rid of a lot of the different alerts that aren't being used in this view right here. So you can see the different alert triggers that can possibly send something to the window. And the filters here, again, will hit the hide unused, and you can see what filters are present to create that strategy. So if you happen to find something that you like, you don't just need to do like the whole window and you just see a strategy that you like. You could go in there and take a look and maybe even modify it to your liking. So what I did in building this particular custom channel, if you will, is I grabbed a lot of different windows from the other channels that we market, Alpha Predator. I don't think I have any pre-market full monitors here. For instance, like I have Brokerage Plus over here on my other monitor, and this is, I'll get to talking about that, but this is the Brokerage Plus interface, and that's just how I have my layout set up. But I just go through the different channels here. Let's just go to, say, something like the earnings channel, pull that up and see what we've done. What windows did we build? What are we looking at here? And you can look at the title of the window. It'll tell you what the concept is. And if you want to drill into it, everything is right-click, menu sensitive. Right here, these are the different tabs, hide unused. Take a look at what filter settings there are. There's another tab on the top list called sort. So it's taking a look at a particular sort order. But that's how we build it. And if you like something like that, let's say you want that window, you can just go ahead and grab it over here, take it, and we'll pin it. So it's going to remain when I go ahead and change channels. So let's go ahead and look for a different channel. Maybe let's go to the pre-market, something I might look at the beginning of the day when I want to see what stocks are gapping up or gapping down or moving on volume. This is a great channel if I'm fortunate enough to sit down before the market opens to see this and set some price alerts based upon the activity. This multi-strategy window gives me a lot of the events that are happening. These lists over here, these top lists, are really just giving me a ranked list of stocks based upon their gap percentage, which ones are gapping down the most, which ones are gapping up the most. And boy, that had a day today. So you find a window that you like, you pin it. That one you can go to the different channels, and let's just say you want the up gappers. You'll bring that, you'll pin it. You'll just kind of keep doing that, going through the different windows that we have, the different channels that we have, and creating your own workspace that you like. So you can always go through the channels, but ultimately, I always come back to my custom right here, which has all of the windows that I use typically during a trading day. Definitely not all the windows I use, but from a base layout, this is kind of how we start. So you ask how to make the gappers window. I mean, that's kind of like, it's a great question. I don't know. Look what we did here. Grab this window. You can see this is a top list right here. So this is going to give me a list of stocks. If you go into the configure area and you go into the filters, you can see, what we're using here from a filter perspective. I want to make sure that for it to show up on this list, I've got a little bit of volume today, at least 2,000 shares. That's pretty low, but it's something. I've got 100,000 minimum average daily volume. That means over the last 5 days, there's been at least an average of 100,000 shares traded during the day. I've got this EPS filter on here. It's a little non-standard, but what it does is it really allows me to focus just on stocks that have earnings rather than some of the ETFs that don't provide earnings. So that's how I would narrow that down. And then just looking at stocks that are greater than one. So really basic from a filter perspective. But the thing that's interesting here is this sort tab, which is really what's creating this ranked list from our server. So it's going to the server and it's grabbing the top 100 stocks here that have the greatest gap percentage. And you have to decide, is it the biggest gap? So these are up gappers, and then the smallest would be the down gappers. So that's how you would set that up. And then you would set up the different columns that you want to display. Maybe you want to see those gap percentages. I would, as I'm setting up that window, and then some of the other data points. Maybe volume, yeah, so there's volume in there. And so that's company name. You can add that. Since I made a change, I can save it here. And so that's our window, the up gappers. I'll close that. And then what you can do is you can just go ahead and save or share that to the cloud. So now it's going to automatically save this up gappers window. So I'll just go ahead and save that, and I have it all set up right there. All righty, so I want to do a couple of things here today. I kind of wrote down a few notes of a few things I want to go through. Let me take a look at some of the questions here first and make sure that you guys are keeping up with it. I will kind of focus on these questions here in about 15-20 minutes, and then yeah, so it looks like we're pretty caught up there. I appreciate that. Thanks, guys. So I have Barry helping out in the chat as well as Scott. So that is a help. The trade of the week is something I wanted to talk about today. If you're not getting or signed up for the trade of the week, and I'll just bring it in. It's an email that we send out every Monday morning before the market opens. It's curated by our partner here on the team, Steve Gomez. He does a fantastic job. Happens to be my fraternity brother. So he does a great job in curating. He has some key trade ideas windows that he looks to, but ultimately he's making a decision like you do as a trader. You're presented with a window here that has a variety of different symbols in it. You can't trade everything that comes in front of you, right? So ultimately you, as your captain of your ship here, have to determine what it is that you want to participate in. So what he's doing is he's using these various windows that that he's created and modified over a period of time, and he uses these to determine which stock does he recommend for the trade of the week. And that is a stock where you hold to approach the market. And John tomorrow in Barry's trading room, he's going to go over some of the we put together some analysis of, and I'm not sure exactly what the time frame, but it might be a year or something like that, of doing these trades of the week. But pretty phenomenal call this week in silver. He's also considering the fundamental aspects of what's happening in the economy, and not just here in the US, but in the global economy. And the precious metals have been certainly talked about a lot very recently. And he takes a technical approach. He takes an approach to the fundamentals, and he also, like I said earlier, uses the technology of trade ideas to determine. So if we pull up AG, you can kind of see what this call was, and this is our daily chart here that I'm zooming in on. The call was made right here at this price alert. So really over the last 3 days, that thing has appreciated just so much. I mean, from $11 to just over 14. So pretty phenomenal trade. Hats off to him. Yesterday the AI suggested this particular trade right here as well. I think it flatted it during the day because it kind of ended up closing lower. But you can take these ideas and you can, depending on how you want to trade it, you can turn these into some longer term ideas. And you can see post market right now, this thing is continuing to break out and run. And so there's some real fundamental bullishness behind the precious metals right now. So it's really I'm really positive on the work that he does in generating these ideas. We give this free, we give so much away free. It's not, so I'm really pleased that he does that and has offered that. So please sign up for it. Go to our website and you can sign up for that. Another thing I want to talk about, let me bring in my other browser window here, is our trading room that we have operating during the market hours. Barry's, well, he opens it, I think, a half hour before the market, and I think he closes it a little bit before the market closes. But he's really displaying our technology in real time, offering trading calls. He's really trading out loud to you guys. He's telling you what he's doing and allowing you guys to participate, follow along, allows you guys to generate ideas in there as well. So I recommend going to the trading room. But in that room, there are a lot of ideas shared, but there's some strategies that are constantly shared, and they're always asked of Barry and they're asked of our support team. So I wanted to maybe, I'll certainly share that with you guys. So I'll drop it right now in the, let me pull it up here and I'll drop it in the chat. And it's just gonna be a Dropbox link. It's linked to my Dropbox. I'm just going to over this little PDF right here, make it a lot smaller. So he's got this list right here, and so what I want to do is I just want to open a couple up, talk about them, and using our cloud feature. Like I showed you earlier, you can save any window to the cloud or any group of windows or any workspace, so it'll clear windows if you want. But so this document right here just has a few different cloud links in it here. I'm just going to go over to my cloud here on my channel bar. Now, if I have something in the clipboard, it's going to a cloud link in the clipboard, it's going to automatically drop it right down here. So I'm just going to hit load, pop up over on my other screen right here. So this is a window right here. This looks like strong stocks up. A lot of columns here. You can certainly modify this the way that you want. Let me stretch this out a little bit so you can see some of the data points that we're looking at. Then I'll stretch the whole window out. So I would probably have personally some different columns on here, but these are the columns that he's looking at, and it works for him. And that's the thing, guys. You just want to find what works for you. Just because it's working for someone else doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Trading is a very individualistic, very personal endeavor. But there's a great opportunity to glean some information from people that know what they're doing. So this is a top list. You can see what kind of window it is by the icon that's in the upper left-hand corner. So this is a top list. It's a ranked list of stocks. It's got two different rankings, like every top list does. When you go into the configure here, you've got the ranking, your tab here for sort, and this is bringing in from our server X number of stocks that are ranked in this particular, based on this particular filter here, change from the close. So I want the biggest stocks that have the biggest change from the close that I'm going to bring into this window. And then, of course, they have to all satisfy these filters right here. It has to have 400,000 shares traded today. It has to have some type of earnings on it, and it's a price in that range right there. It's got a few other things. I'm just going to actually take off this filter because he's got it set up in more of an advanced way, looking for a bookended. But we're just looking for strong things right here. And let's just go ahead and hit OK. All right, so now we've got this window here that's got nothing but strong stocks. We can take it and we could even customize all of these windows in a different way. I'm going to colorize this column right here because I want to see from a colorized perspective, how is this stock doing on its change from the close. So let's just go into it. I'm going to right click on the header right here, and I'm going to set up this coloring right here, and I'm going to move this to the side, and I'm going to look at values, the values that I'm looking at here. And it looks like everything up to about 20%, but everything is falling within the 5, 7, 9. So I'm using that information to determine what's the kind of gradient, what's the kind of scaling that I want to use for the colors. So in this case right here, I'm going to say 0, 7, and 15. And it'll all make sense in a second. And I'm going to do the reverse, -7 and -15. Now I've got these different thresholds, gradients set up here, and I'm going to just apply this particular color scheme to it. And then I'll hit OK. So now I've just turned this column here into more of a gradient. So now I can see visually here, just based upon how dark is that field, how much is it up? And I can change that gradient if I want. But that's what I get. Now I have a couple other columns here that are really interesting. I like them in the software all over the place. The position and range indicators that we have. This is the position and day range. So where is the stock trading right now in relationship to its intraday high and low? Well, Netgear right here happens to be trading above its high of the day. And you can see here, this post-market action is in this colorized region right here, and this kind of purple color, this really light color, and you can see where it's trading. Well, this was the action today. This was the high of the day, and so now it's trading above the high, trading at the high, and you can see here, based upon this little scale, this one right here is not trading at the high. Let's pull that up, and you can see the high was established here around 1320, 1324. It's now trading at 1287. So you can get some really good and quick information just from that position and range column right here. And of course, any column or any data point that we have can also be used as a filter. So if you hover over any of these, it tells you what the value is. So that's 87. So that's the value to determine this right here. So let me pull up another one that's interesting. I mean, there's so many, and that's why I'm sharing this, because I kind of went through this. It had been a while since I had seen this, but a couple of people had recently asked for it, and just found it really super interesting. So let's bring in another one here. I'm going to go into my cloud. I'm going to load it up. This happens to be Option Plays Magic. So it's a multi-strategy. I'm a big fan of the multi-strategy windows. First of all, you right-click and you hover over strategies to see exactly what strategies we're looking at here. So we're looking at stocks that are moving up. We're looking at stocks that are moving down, but they have to be doing it on a certain amount of options volume. It's either has to be, and I like it when it's segmented like this, because you really have the same strategy but we're having different filter values set for the options volume today. So it just gives you a really nice, pleasant view as you're looking at this window here, and you can see something, you know, start to migrate from one particular option level to the next, and so it gives you that notion of increasing options volume or not. So not just strong options volume. So I see some questions coming in here. I'll get to those in just a few, guys. I also want to talk about, he has some momentums in here. He's got a great halt and resume window. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the halt and resume, and then I'll show you another momentum. So the halt and resume, I really recommend this if you like trading volatile stuff. You know, this is really going to do a history for today. This is really going to find the stocks that have very interesting things happening. Either, wonder why nothing's coming in here, but oh, there we go. So generally it's because of volatility, where it's moved so much over a short period of time that it gets halted. And so it's a great way to spot really nice opportunities if you're okay entering these highly volatile stocks. So like I said, there is a momentum strategy in Barry's list right here, but I want to take you to another repository that we have. So that was one, that document, but we have another repository on the channel bar. So if we go down to the Trader's Vault right here, this will, don't get scared when it loads up, because it loads up all kinds of different windows right here, but it's really just a way from an environment and do something that you want with it. So we've got this Momo window right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to grab the Momo window. I'm going to bring it right here. I'm going to pin it. And now I'm going to bring back my custom. And let's go ahead and open this guy up. Such a simple window. But you know, sometimes some of the simpler things are some of the better things. So arrange it how you want. You know, you can kind of set it up however you want. So what do we have here? Let's just do a quick history. Right click, history for today. And so you can see kind of a chronological order of events. Had you been sitting here watching this, you know, towards the market open, I'm on the West Coast, so we close at 1 o'clock. So this is happening just 4 seconds before the close. And, you know, you can pull up any of these guys and you can really find that incredible momentum. And this guy here, so it was coming in right before the close. It had 35 different signals of high momentum right here. And it had some great follow through after the close right there. So that way you can grab that window, bring it into your own threshold, use that Trader's Vault as a resource, again, just like Barry's document here, or just like our other channels and workspaces. We do have in these windows, just so you know, if you right click and you go into properties, we have this actions option right here. So you can have it, this right here is set to text to speech, so it's gonna try to tell you what symbol that is as best it can. You can set up another sound, a Windows sound. You can record your own WAV file. You can have this window minimized and select this show alert. It'll then pop up and allow you to take a look at it, see if you want to do something, see if you want to set a price alert. And that's what I'm doing here, is I'm right clicking on the chart. You know, this is kind of moved up a lot, but it's amazing in hindsight. You know, you look at this right now and you go, oh my gosh, I'm getting in here and I'm risking it back to 282. Maybe even back to the low twos if I get in, you know, but sometimes in hindsight, when you look back, it'll never see this again. And you know, but right now it looks a little scary. So either way, you get in here and you right click, you set a price alert. This is going to be at 450. I could change that. I could set a note. I typically don't, and just hit save. So now I can take this stock completely out of my mind. I don't even need to remember what it is that I was looking at. When this stock happens to cross this $4.50 region right here, it's going to pop up, it's going to give me an audible alert, and it's going to appear here in my price alert window. You know, so if I'm looking at AG at the time, I'll be able to then click on that price alert, see exactly what happened, have that visual indication of it crossing that threshold, and then decide if I want to go ahead and participate and and make a trade here. You know, I can drag my order based upon what I've got set up in Brokerage Plus, and I'll talk about that right now. Brokerage Plus, this, like I said, is our ability to execute directly from the different windows that we have, whether it's from the chart, like I just showed you right there, whether it's from a price alert or an alert window, or you know, going into the strategies and taking a strategy that you've created. Like, let's see if I have something in here. So I could take like this strategy here that I created, I could load it in. I'm just going to add it. I could go ahead and set up the instructions for it. So every time it triggers, you know, I tell it when it would be okay to enter into the position. When it does, how big of a position do I want? Do I want to do it by a fixed dollar size, $5,000 a position, you know, fixed shares, maybe 200 shares per trade, or based on a stop loss? And that's a great way to do it. The based on a stop loss is nice because depending upon where your stop is set, it's going to risk only the number of shares that would allow you to lose that number of dollars should your stop get hit. So if I put $100 in here, based upon where that stop is, it's going to give me the number of shares that I'm only going to lose 100 if the stop gets hit. What type of order do you want to enter into it? What type of risk management do you want to use? Do you want to put on a stop loss? What kind of stop loss? A profit target? How long do you want to hold it? Here we're going to hold it for 45 minutes and hit OK. And then all you need to do is just turn it on. So it's once it's loaded in here, I'm just going to click to enable, and I'm going to turn this strategy on. So the strategy status is on. Nothing's going to happen after hours, but if I leave this running, anytime there's a signal in that particular strategy, if I had that window open, anytime there's a signal in it, I'm going to go ahead and try to buy that based upon the instructions that I put out there. So that's the more advanced way to use it, but you know, you can also just go into your positions tab right here and use your order entry panel. You can do some great things, you know, with respect to the stops that we have on here. For instance, you know, let me pull up something like pause right here. So this is a silver call. I got into this just a couple days ago. This happens to be the simulated trading right here, but what I'm doing is I'm mimicking a couple other portfolios that I have that don't have the ability to use Brokerage Plus. You'd be amazed at some of the other, well, you probably know some of the other interfaces that are out there, whether it's with your 401k or some other ones. And so this gives me the ability to model it, mimic it, or just if I want to practice something, practice a particular type of strategy or sizing technique, I can use the simulated trading to do that. But right here in pause, I'm going to bring this up, and you can see where my entry is. So if I zoom in here, you know, my entry is at 35.73. But let's put a stop order out there, and let's make it so that, you know, my stop is right at $35. Probably wouldn't want it to go negative, but you know, that's okay. Let's put it at $35. All I'm going to do is right click on this position right here. I'm going to add the stop order, and I'm going to put it at $35, and I'm going to add it. So now it's visually appearing here. I can also see that if in fact I was to get stopped out at $35, I'd take this position right here that is currently profitable by $175, and I would end up losing $73. So from a money management perspective, it gives you the ability to really see that. I can take this and I could move it up, and now you can see that I'm above my entry price. Here's my on the intraday time frame, you can see I'm above my entry price. And if I was to get stopped out, if it was to come back here, then I would end up making $54 on that trade. So it's really nice from a risk management perspective. And once you have all your stops in here, you can also see, you know, maybe this stop right here in fuel cell is a little far away. You know, maybe I don't want it to lose 370 on that. Maybe I don't need to. And if I come up here looking at the daily and the support, you know, maybe I'm getting pretty close to where a more realistic stop would be in that. And that looks like I'd be losing $134 in that trade if I was to get stopped out right here. So it's a good way to use that. And you can do the same thing with profit targets if you want to set a target and see exactly what you'd be making doing that. Entering into your positions, you can do it here using shares, which is kind of the standard way. But if I change that to dollars and I said, okay, well, I want to buy $2,500 worth of this particular stock at market, then that's all I would need to do, and I don't need to calculate the number of shares. It'll do that for me. So that's a nice benefit there as well. You've got this rapid execution bar on the right here. So if I wanted to get out of my losing positions right now, don't want to get out of X, but if I wanted to get out of these guys right here, I could just highlight them and I could just hit the flatten button right there. If I'm happy with this pullback, maybe it hasn't pulled back enough, but then I might want to double that position and double it. Or if something's really going well, like the silver positions, maybe I'd want to double that. It's hard, emotionally, doubling something that's been moving like that is really a hard thing. But again, in hindsight, as you look back, this thing could be at $27, $28, and paying $21 for it now, even though it seems expensive by comparison to the $18, it's all relative, and that's really what trading's about. All right, so that's the Brokerage Plus. Let's talk a smidge about Holley AI. Let's talk about kind of what we do here with the AI and maybe some of the ideas that were generated today through it. Kind of a mixed bag, not from Holley today. If I was risking $100 on every trade, that means I'm going to size myself. And you can see the different sizes here. I'm going to size myself to whereas if I get stopped out, I'm only going to lose $100. So look, I got stopped out on a couple different trades right here. We lost $100. So that's what happens, getting stopped out with that position sizing like that. But had I chosen the conservative method, and that's the shorter time frame, we provide 3 different profitability modes here when looking at the AI. And the 3 different profitability modes are like this. So you've got the profitability modes are like this. You've got the conservative mode. We used to call this risk off, and this is really getting out at the suggested time frame. So every one of these strategies is optimized for an intraday time frame. It could be 45 minutes, it could be an hour. If after that hour you're profitable, it's going to be getting you out. It'll be getting you out after the hour, even if you're not profitable. But if you happen to be stopped out, it's just going to get you out immediately. If you hit your target, it's going to get you out immediately at hitting that target. And then we have a couple of other exit algorithms. If something runs up and then pulls back a certain percentage, you're going to get out on the profit save. So we've got these different algorithms that we use to get you out for the conservative risk off profit mode. And then we've got the other profit mode, moderate, which is really what we used to call risk on, which is really trying to hold these trades to the end of the day, unless you get stopped out. If you get stopped out, you're out of the trade and you're not going to get back in. So that would be the moderate profit mode. So if I was doing the moderate profit mode today, I would have lost $371 based upon this risking $100 per trade. If I would have done the aggressive, and the difference between moderate and aggressive is the aggressive isn't really looking at stops at all. It's not considering them. So it's just going to get you in at the beginning of the market, and then it's going to get you out at the end of the market, and that's going to be what you lose. So you can see here some of these guys are past the $100 loss that you would have experienced getting stopped. So that is the 3 different profit modes. If we look at this guy right here, AUPH, pharmaceuticals have really been on fire lately. This guy had a great run, through the day today, but my God, it gave it all back after market. Didn't have earnings or anything. It just decided to give it up. Maybe there's some news on it. They're equity offering, and so there's an equity offering, and you can see that hit the news. The single stock window here has got a variety of different tabs. So not only can you see really quickly right here, well, all the data points, and you can customize this, but really quickly I can see if it's got earnings today or tomorrow or sometime really soon through this particular field right here. So I've got the news, I've got the profile. What does the company do? What sector, subsector, industry group are they in? Have there been any insiders transacting on this? And another great one, the similar tab, and I like it on competitors here, looking at competitors of this particular stock right here. So if you want to look at other pharmaceuticals, you want to get in here and you want to sort them, see what's really going. This guy right here had a great day today. Well, that's post-market. So there's some news happening. I mean, there's all kinds of news happening all the time on these guys. We do have a reentry field right here. So if a stock happens to get stopped out, and it then crosses back over the algorithm. It's giving you an idea. Maybe you want to look at it. Maybe this is something that would be interesting to get in. This stock right here was really interesting. You know, LOGI, great trade in the conservative mode. So, you know, you got in really quickly. The profit target was hit. So it hit that profit target. You made $400 based on, well, it looks like it just went up a point right here. And you got out. And as soon as you got out, this thing just continued to go down, and it went down pretty good and kind of ended back to near flat. But interesting trading day. And so that shows you, you know, sometimes it's better to take your profit early. Sometimes it's better to let it work its way through the day, and every day is different. Ultimately, you're going to have to make that decision and decide. So let me dig my way over to the questions here and see if there's anything I can get to. Normally, like I said, I've got my partner working on these things as well, and so it makes it a little bit easier to go through it. So Holley, for options, I don't think we have any strategies right now that are specifically looking at the options data point that we have. The really good data point that we're looking at is the unusual options volume. So, you know, just like volume, we do a great job of analyzing volume. When unusual option volume occur, when more options trades are occurring than normal, that's a great filter to identify it. Yeah, I mean, you could connect. Well, I do. I mean, I completely. I don't ever use Trader Workstation anymore. Although it needs to be running in the background, so you do need to have it running. It's kind of a behemoth of a program, but you know, just have it minimized, and you should be fine. There's also some more comprehensive. I don't know, maybe comprehensive. I don't know if that's the right word. There may be some additional things in the portfolio management that you may want to have at your disposal just in case, you know, I don't know. So you have the platform open and running. So Eduardo's asking if we have a chart when the moving average line cross. So no, we have on the chart, this is the way that works. You can put any studies that you want on the chart through the indicators right here. And you could add your moving average, your EMA, your SMA, or you can do any of that. But if you want to have it triggered, you're going to need to, or if you want to have an alert when something crosses through, you're going to need to set up the scanner to do that. We've got a couple different ways to do it. I don't know if EMA crosses are the, or we don't do EMA crosses, if SMA crosses are really the best use of our technology, but we do that. So Jacob, we are in the process of building the Brokerage Plus interface for the web. So right now, that's one of the few components that's not available on the web. So that's Brokerage Plus only in the application right now, but it is being worked on. So Eric, send a request to support if you're curious about another indicator type. So we need to add the different indicator types, but you're then able to add the different EMAs or the different SMAs on there based upon your configuration. So if it's something that we can add and makes sense for us to do it, we can do that on the back end and it'll automatically appear here. So Mark, the E-Trade Pro integration we're right in the middle of it right now. I'm expecting it, I already missed my first mark, so it's killing me. I'm expecting it in the next 3 weeks to have my ability to actually send trades, test it, and probably 4 weeks for middle of next month for offering it to you guys. That's my goal. So Bruce, I do not have a session, but dang, the custom formulas are phenomenal because it's something that I do all the time. In fact, let me just bring in one here real quick. I think it's this account right here. I've got some really, really interesting custom formulas. And essentially what you can do with a custom formula is any variable that we have in trade ideas that we allow you to filter on or do something with, we also allow you to manipulate it mathematically in a custom filter or a custom formula. So these all end up being filters, but you can bring them in as a column and see the data display or even use the filtering capability. But let me kind of go through just a couple that are interesting, because I just did one that was really good. So here's like the change 1 minute versus 5 minutes. So this is looking at, how much has the stock moved over a 1 minute period compared to its 5 minute period of time. So if something starts to break out, increasing volume. So we have this 1 minute volume and we have the 5 minute volume. So now this is a formula that's really taking a look at, is the volume increasing from the 1 minute to the 1 minute from the 5 minute. So that's a pretty interesting one. There are just so many really interesting things that you just don't think that you could necessarily do with the software, but you can. Volume growth. So, is the volume, here's the average 5-day volume over the average 3-month volume, and is it growing? It's going to give you a ratio. So it's super simple, but it's going to give you a ratio. Anything over 1 is showing you that that's growing. So if there's something inside day custom filter, did I go through that inside day? Yeah, so this right here is letting me know if it's an inside day. That means if today's high, do we have previous? Yeah, so if today's range is within yesterday's range, it's going to give me a true or a false, a 1 or a 0, and so I can use that. Anything you guys see here, if you don't get, you're going to get a replay of this, so you can always just copy it from the screen. But if you want to send, you can send me an email, brad@trade-ideas.com or info@trade-ideas.com, and I can always share it with you. One day we'll do a webinar just fully on the customs. It's there's so much you can do, and there's I've got a blog post that has 3 different posts of nothing but custom filters that we put together that are super interesting. So what else do I have here that might be, you can bring in things like, if you just want to see what's today's high, like for instance, let me show you, like for instance, on the single stock, let me log back into that account. And then I'll go into my single stock window right here and go into configure. And let's go to high, today's high. Let me show that as a column. And let me also, I'm assuming I probably have today's low. I deleted it. Yeah, because it's so easy to create, but that's okay. Let me just bring in the high. So you can just bring in that data point right from that custom filter that we have, and you can see that information. So a lot of good stuff right there. Let's see here. Yeah, so Dean, the recent performance tab, it's really just giving you an indication through the day of the profitability of that particular trade. So Ram, I'm not sure what document. I did share the document in the chat, so check the chat and see if that's the one. If there's a different one, let me know. Let me show one other thing with respect to Brokerage Plus. We've got this for the premium subscribers. They have this Holley AI tab. The Holley AI tab allows you to take and automate the AI. You can do it in simulation and you can do it live. And you can do it based upon the instructions that you want. Maybe you only want to turn the long trades on, you can do that. So you can just, highlight them. And you can enable those 9 selected strategies. You want to make sure you've got the long instructions. How do you want it to behave? This is trading $30, moderate, trying to hold it to the end of the day. So I'm risking $30 for every trade. I'm going to get in with a limit order, but it's going to be a limit delta, which means I'm going to pay up 5 pennies for that. So if the stock's trading at $30, I'm willing to pay $30.05 to get in. And I'm willing to do that for 3 minutes and 20 seconds. So, you set up your trading instructions and then you could set it up, and the positions will appear here in your integrated position tab, where you can see not only the trades that you're trading here manually, but also the ones that are being traded through Holley. So a lot of filtering can be done here through Brokerage Plus as well. Yeah, Dean, location is in the go to webinar chat. So you should see a little chat section on the toolbar. So yes, we do have plans for Holley Swing. That is definitely in the works. It's being worked on by one of our team members right now, and we're always working on these strategies to improve them. A little bit of the accounting work is what's preventing us from moving that forward in a rapid fashion. But once we get that nailed out, then the swing ideas are going to be great. So there's a I know there were a couple inside bar questions, and we do have some. If you're looking at an intraday type of event, we do have, if I go into alerts here, we do have what we call the NR7 for compressing candles that are getting smaller. So it's not an inside day, but these are inside candles that are happening. Conversely, I've got this wide range bar window that I look at. It's a top list, and it's a really simple window, but it's looking to today's range percentage. This is one of the nice filters, nice data points that we have. We take it's one of the data points where we're taking statistical baselines and comparing it to what's happening right now. So looking at some outrageous event and comparing it to the norm, and that's where you would see something like MXC. And you look at this daily bar here from 1460 to 760. That's a 7-point swing right there. That's pretty big. And you look at the average daily bar here, it's not moving more than 20, 30 cents on the bigger ones. Ordinary, bit of information, SNDE. You can see it visually here on the daily bars and how they're very big. And so this is very interesting during the market, when they're starting to appear. And I like to have this thing sorted on position and range. So you're now looking at these stocks that are showing some real good volatility, some nice length in their daily bar, but also are trading towards their higher end of the range. And then if I wanted to take something like this and just right click, go to configure, and let's just take this, what do I want to do? I want to take the position and range, add the filter, and I want to say I only want to see things that are in their upper 15 percentile. So now everything in this list right here is only going to be in the upper 15 percentile. There should be nothing below 85 on here. And that's what we have. So Alan, specific to your question on Brokerage Plus and automation, it currently only works on the application, not on the web. The web does not have the Brokerage Plus component yet, but it is being worked on within our development team. So right now, it is only for IB users for connecting through Brokerage Plus to a live brokerage account. But very, very shortly, we have connectivity coming for E-Trade, connectivity coming through Thinkorswim, and we do have some other ones. If I bring in, let me see where I have it. So it's going to be Interactive Brokers, E-Trade, Thinkorswim, and then Alpaca will be connected. So, Drora, with respect to an abrupt jump, there's I would say, the halts are going to always, pull up something that's too abrupt, and so it's never going to go past that. I don't know whether you're considering, a daily move or, a daily gap or some type of gap within the intraday movement. You're not going to really find intraday movement gaps unless it's a really super thin stock that's really difficult to trade, or it's been halted and then opens up 5 minutes later because of a volatility halt. So I'm not exactly sure what you're asking, but that's the best way to do it, I think. So almost, Stephen, almost. We're almost ready. E-Trade will be coming online before Thinkorswim, but I would suspect 30 days following the E-Trade release, you'll be able to trade through Brokerage Plus. That means through the Brokerage Plus window, through the right-click interface. These are all set up here through Brokerage Plus. So I set these up for me, and you can do that right here on the Strategies tab, and this is where you set up your different order types. And the great thing about it is when you go ahead and get in, using that right-click or using this pull-down button here, you're setting your stop, you're setting your profit target, you're doing all of that at one time, and then it's visually represented on the chart. How can you collaborate on cloud? So collaborate, I don't know if I fully understand your question, but we developed this little technique called collaboration long before we had the cloud. And so let me show you something here. Let's take this and let me duplicate it. Now I'm going to go into this window right here, and I'm going to configure, and I'm going to flip it. So I'm going to take this breaking out on volume, and now it's going to be breaking down on volume. All right, so it's just breaking down on volume. So now with the cloud, I can go ahead and I could save this right here, and I could save it to the cloud. And when I go back, I'm going to have access to it right here, breaking down on volume, and I could load that up. I could do that, from the web platform, a different computer, or what have you. But if I wanted to take this window right here that I have, and I want to bring these settings over into it, right-click, and I go into Collaborate. I grab this link right here, and this also works with our older web version of the software. But if you just grab that link or hit Copy All, and then come over here and hit Collaborate, and I paste it, now essentially I've copied the settings over into this window right here. Jacob, a huge community of users. Check out the trading room, and Barry can lead you to the other places, but check out the trading room. It's a link from our website. Just go to our homepage and select the trading room option up here in the upper right. So the options filter, why don't you just go to the options channel. I've been making some modifications to the imagery as well as the channels. On the options channel, I've got a variety of different windows that are set up specific to the filters that we have that are looking at options. So, but this options volume today, I think that's this window right here. Somebody knows something. So take a look at this window right here and see how we have it set up. This is the real, meat of this window right here, percent options volume today. So that's the data. It's a top list. If I go into configure, that's going to be what I'm sorting on. It's also, make sure I have it as a column, options volume today percentage. And it's also what I'm sorting on in the window. So no matter what I sort on, if I change this to change percent, I can still be assured, even though I'm looking at all the stocks that have moved the most today to the upside, every one of these windows, right, or every one of these symbols right here in this window is still one that's done really nice options volume today. And you can see that right here. All right, so they've all done, no matter whether it's up or down, they've all done really nice options volume. So that's kind of how you would use a top list, and check out that channel for more on that. So absolutely, we've done a job. So, absolutely, Eric. Eric's asking, is there a way to create a window showing the status of stocks on a custom list? So for me, let me bring back my custom. It's already made, so I'm going to show you kind of how I did it. soon as it comes in here. So right here, it's just basically, it's a new top list. And you just go up to new top list, go into configure. I don't have any filters on it. Sort doesn't matter, you know, sorting on price, but I'm looking at a symbol list. And it's because I'm on a different, I changed my accounts up here. So I have a different symbol list right here, but 10-day low, that's my symbol list, and that's being broadcast just in this particular window right here. So if you want to modify that list, go into tools, go into symbol list. Let's see, this was the 10-day low. 10-day low right here. I could rename it here, and let's call it my list of stocks. And go in and I can edit it, put my list in here, and then it'll appear in this top list window. You can do the same thing with an alert window. Maybe you just want to see new highs off of your list or new lows off of your list. You can do that too, Eric. All right, guys, we're at the top of the hour. I'm going to wrap it up here. Let me find my document. Where did we leave you guys? So the trading room. Yeah, I showed you how to get there right from our web page, our home page. Go to the top, click trading room. Barry and a bunch of other great traders and some novice traders. Just it's a nice community of people trying to get the most out of trade ideas. So take a look at that. Our daily live classes here. So go to tradeideas.com/live. This is taking place kind of in the middle of a trading room break, but you can view us on this particular link right here. We're also viewable on YouTube, so you can check out our YouTube channel. Scott, are you there, my friend?
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you take it over from here, bud.
Yeah, we've got code Holley July. Use that to save 15% off your first month or year of trade ideas. Also grab that for a upgrade from standard to premium. There's a podcast. We've got some great interviews out this year so far. Just go to your favorite pod application and search for Trade Ideas Podcast to add that. You can forward probably to the next slide after that one then too. Also, there's an ebook. It's all about earnings season. And the ebook has some great strategies for you to employ to help you make the most out of this earnings season that is starting soon. So thanks everyone. Just go to trade-ideas.com/earnings for that. You can follow us on Twitter at Trade Ideas. There's some other handles too to follow. Trade Ideas Pro on Facebook. Share everything we post with your friends. And any questions, if you want any formulas, anything like that, just shoot an email to info@trade-ideas.com. The recording will be up later on tonight or tomorrow, and you get an email reminder from GoToWebinar tomorrow with a link to the playlist. That'll give you a link to find it. It'll be the newest webinar in that playlist. And thanks, Brad. Thanks, everyone, for attending, and we'll wrap it up.
Thanks, everybody.